Hi everyone. I'm here today um, to tell you about some tips for digitizing your pictures, digitizing your images. There is a previous video out there called Simple Image Digitization, and you can take a look at that video first, probably before you look at this one, because it has the basics of how you go about loading an image and creating a colored grid out of it. So, but in this video, I'm going to be doing some color substitution after the image is digitized, and I'm also going to look at how you would hide colors in the palette to modify how the digitizer works. And I'll also show you how to turn on the mouse color, the cell color on the mouse, so that you can, when you move your mouse around, you can tell what color the mouse is over at any time, which is really helpful if you're going to edit the picture or modify it after you've created it from your image. Okay, so I'm going to do two projects. First one is going to be a cross stitch project, and the second one will be a latch hook project. If you're interested in, editing in the Grid Designer, I suggest that you watch both of them because there will be slightly different things that'll be done with each of those pictures. So you might want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to start by creating from an image, my project from an image, and I'm going to pick this image here to work with. This is my grandson sleeping. And I want only, if the project is rotated, just use these buttons to rotate it. Cropping it means you select up here and drag a rectangle around it, or you can click in one corner and click in the other corner to get the box. And when you've got it where you want it, you say crop, and that makes the picture smaller. You get just whatever you cropped it to. Like I said, there's a previous video, so if you want to understand what these things are that I'm setting here, you want to go and watch that video in addition to this one. But I've already done some work with this picture, so I've got an idea of where I'm going here. When you're doing this for the first time, you kind of have to play around with it and see how things look with different settings and things. But I know that I want this about 150 cells across, that works out a good amount of detail for the picture. And then we're going to go in here and we're going to pick the DMC embroidery floss. It takes it a second just to load that up. There are so many colors in that one. And now down here, and I talk a lot about this number in the previous video, but I'm going to set this number to 50 because I have already played with the picture and I know that 50 gets me what I want. So I'll say create project. Okay, we get let's turn off the grid. That's making the gray lines on top of it. Then we'll make it a little bigger here so we can take a good look at it. Now, what I did not like in this picture were the reds on his cheek here. I thought they were a little too bright. And if I look at the photograph, his cheeks are red. So that's kind of it basically did the right thing there. But I'd like to modify that so that we have some shades of brown in here. And I did play with colors and things like that. So I have an idea of what I want to substitute since I've already worked with this picture. In order to be able to see, right now I've just got the hand over here and we don't see anything about what color the cells are. We can go to the display menu and pick show cell color. If you pick show cell color, then as you move the mouse around and place it over different colors, you will actually see what color that is. Okay, so this is garnet. This is very dark terracotta. This one is dark red copper. And so my initial goal is to get rid of those three by doing a color substitution. Now, I want to show you, as these colors are used in other places, I think around here. There's a dark garnet over here, but this, not sure, but I think they are, well, they're certainly used up here on the nose, which might be okay. And one thing that you can try, I tried this first with this picture to see if I only wanted to substitute the reds on his cheek. So you can select an area, like say if I only wanted to get the those reds there on his cheek, you can select an area. You can drag the edges of the selection box around. You can actually move the selection box like this. So you can do several things with the selection box. And then when we do color substitution, which will be pressing this button up here, it will only change the colors within that box. So I want to just show you quickly how that works. It's not what I decided to do as my final, for my final picture, but I want you to understand how that works. So we'll see these colors in here. And let's say, and notice that when I'm moving the mouse around on here, I see the color that the mouse is over displayed down here at the bottom. Okay, so I can tell that I am now over garnet. While I have the mouse over garnet, if I click the mouse on that color, then I will end up with garnet down here in this list. This list down here has a list of all the colors in the picture. And you can do a substitution of any color by picking the substitute box and then picking a color to substitute it. And like I said, if I click on any color in the picture, it will then go to that color. So now I'm at garnet. That's what I want to substitute with something else. And I know that I want to, from what I've done before, I want to use this same dark, there's a dark golden brown. You can see that that's where I've got the mouse over here. I want to continue that dark golden brown into that area. So I'm going to substitute that with a dark golden brown. Okay, so I can show labels. I can show only the colors that are used. And let's go down here to some of these browns. Those are too dark. Dark golden brown. There it is, dark golden brown. Okay, now you may have to substitute, pick some different colors and see what it looks like and that kind of thing, but I wanted to get that area in there. Now, if I say convert the pattern at this point, it will have substituted the garnet, the dark golden brown for the garnet, only in this area inside the box. Okay, so we see it's only in here. All right, so that is one way to restrict it. And notice that outside here, I've got some more garnet outside the box. So if you want to work on a smaller area and do a color substitution within a specific area, then using the selection box is a way to do that. I'm going to clear my selection now. I'm going to undo my change that I just made, my color substitution change, because I really want to do it on the entire picture. So if I click substitute colors with no selection selected, then I'm editing the entire picture. I go back to my garnet and I'm going to substitute the dark golden brown. Where was it? There it is. Okay, dark golden brown. And then I'm going to say convert. Now, you could do multiple colors at once. That's fine. But I kind of like to go out of it, look at the picture, go back in, and then, and then see what is next, right? So let's get rid of this. It's very dark terracotta. So if I click on the very dark terracotta, it takes me right to that color in the list. And the very dark terracotta, I want to replace with medium brown. And the way that I got that was I just looked around at the different colors that were around here. So if I look kind of in here, I get kind of there's a lighter brown here and a darker brown here, but this is not as dark as the golden brown. So I've just put my mouse around on the picture and found colors that I wanted to substitute. So I'm going to substitute, I'm going to get rid of very dark terracotta and put a medium brown in its place. So we've got very dark terracotta, and we want to look for medium brown. There it is, medium brown. And again, it's up to you. You know, you can do multiple substitutions at once, but I kind of like to come out, look at the picture again. Now we're going to get rid of this dark red copper here. Okay, so we'll click on the dark red copper, and the color I used was very dark mahogany, which I just got off the face here. It's this color in here. So it's a little lighter. You know, I just use that kind of progression of browns there, and I want to pick very dark mahogany for that. So we've got the dark red copper, and we're going to do very dark mahogany. Very dark mahogany. There it is. Okay, so we got that. That kind of makes a darker brown, lighter brown, you know, progression on the face, which I think looks pretty much okay. Okay, so now I've got this. Now looking at this picture, now that I've moved all these reds, there's another red over here, this dark garnet, which I think should go too. So I'm going to get rid of that also. Click on the dark garnet area. And let's see. I replaced that with a very dark coffee brown. So that's what I want to go for here. So let's do that. And again, you know, you have to kind of play around. Very dark coffee brown, very dark coffee brown, that color there. So if you notice that reddish color went away there, the dark garnet, convert the pattern. And then I looked around at other things, maybe increasing this bright spot, and I just kind of looked at the colors in the hair and how I wanted to do this. I noticed that this is a very dark navy blue, where I'd really kind of expect that to be a black down there at the bottom of the picture in the darkest shadow there. I think that I would prefer that to not be blue. And just to be kind of consistent with the rest of the picture, I thought it would be better if it was black. So I'll go in one more time in the substitution. I'll pick very dark navy blue. I'm going to pick in here. And notice that in looking through the colors that are in here, the black is not something that's currently used in the picture. So I'm going to have to open this up to the whole 500 list. And in order to find that more quickly, at least on my desktop computer, I can do a Control F in the Chrome browser, and that will bring up the Find tab. And this will work to find the color. I'd already typed black in here because I'd done this before. So let me just refresh that because it doesn't seem to have found it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I just kind of changed that a little bit so that it would update, and then it found it in the list for me here, so I don't have to search through the 500 colors. So I'm going to pick black, and I think that looks okay. I think it looks better. It looks a little duller than the very dark navy blue that was in there. And so this is how I'm going to end up doing my cross stitch project. I'm going to, let's see, and let me just go, okay, so one thing I want to do now is I want to set my cell size. I don't have anything selected here. I'm going to do a cross stitch 14 count Aida. So I'm going to do it on that fabric. Okay. And then once I've set my cell size in there, then when I go look at my project info in here, I can see exactly the size that this is going to be. It's 10.7 by 7.6. It's going to end up being maybe 10 by 7. Maybe should have checked that at the beginning because I'd rather more have like uh, 11 by 14 or something. I'm something a little bit different, but I could take a couple of rows off here to get down to 10 inches by 7 and take a couple of columns off to get off, or take a couple of, sorry, taking a couple rows would reduce this 7.64 inches down to, I could get that down to 7 inches, and I could get this down to 10 inches. So once I set my cell size, I can figure out how large the project is going to be, and then I can make some edits to do that. But that'll be another video. So that's it for the digitization and the substitution of colors for this particular project. And next I'm going to be doing a latch hook rug project that I'll show you. Okay, now I'll show you a latch hook rug project. We're going to do create from image again. I'm going to start with a picture again. Select image. Okay, and we get my list of images. I'm going to pick this picture here. Okay. Oops. I think I clicked that select image twice. Okay, so this picture needs some rotation. It was taken with my camera, and so the angle is must have been on its side or whatever. So I'm going to rotate it once. Then I want only the picture of the baby. This is actually a picture of my dad as a baby, which probably was taken in 1930 or so, something like that. And I was going to see what I could do with that. Okay, so we've got that. Now I want to go back. This is going to be a latch hook rug, is what I'm thinking. That might be hung on the wall. So I'm going to pick that. Let's increase this. 100 never seems to be quite enough. Let's go up to about 200. Okay, and then let's leave this well, let's start this with 5. I can't remember exactly what I did originally, so let's try it with 5 first, just to see what we get. That's probably okay. There aren't a lot of colors in it, so it's it shouldn't be using a great number of colors. 17 colors. Okay, this is essentially kind of a black and white picture, with a scale of browns. Now, in this picture, what I didn't like was the green, this pale sage that was used in here. And I found that by playing around with this, and I did also try to, I did some substitution of colors, and I initially tried to do it just with the face, but then I noticed it's on the hands and the feet and that kind of thing too. And I tried to do it just in that area, but that wasn't terribly helpful for me. So I didn't think it quite looked right with this green in here anywhere. So I'm going to do a substitution here. Substitute. And we're going to get rid of this green. It is a pale sage. If I click on it, then the substitute, that pale sage comes up in the list with its substitute button. So I'm going to pick this. I'm going to pick show used. And so these are the 17 colors that are currently being used. Now then I had to play around with it a little bit and to see if there is a color that could have been used for it out of this list. That one is obviously too bright. So that didn't work very well. That was flesh. It needs to be something darker. That is a possibility, but it seems a little dark to me. And that was dark beige, flesh, medium flesh. That's another possibility too. So you can, but anyway, you can see that sometimes you can remove a color from the digitized picture. So, you know, even by using the colors that were actually in the selection, that doesn't look too bad. I'm also going to try tan because what I tried was tan earlier and I thought that one looked the best. So, so it is possible, you know, to just substitute from the list of things that were used in the picture, you know, to kind of tone down something that doesn't look quite right. Okay, so let's convert that. So now we've gotten rid of the green. There are a couple of anomalies in this picture. Um, One is this dot on the head. There must be something on the photograph that is sitting there because I always get this dot on the head. And you know, if the way I got this the colors to show up from the mouse was just by selecting this show or hide cell color button. So what that does is that shows the cell color on the cell that's, and so we have brass there. Basically, that's what that is. Okay, but this color around here is medium flesh. And I think I just want to replace that little dot with this medium flesh. So let's go show used. And we want medium flesh. Actually, it is already selected as the foreground color. We take our little pencil here and just get rid of that. Okay. And then, you know, also when you're drawing, there's a little shadow that goes with the wherever the pencil point is. And so that, you know, keep that in mind. That looks almost like it's a different color, but it's actually just showing you where the pencil is at. And if you are doing this on an iPad or an iPhone, then you may see a shadow that stays for a while after you've clicked on a spot. Just unclick the pencil icon and the shadow will go away. So then you can tell exactly what color it was. Okay, so that's a way to, you can certainly just edit the picture right afterwards. And the mouse color option will show you what the colors are. Okay, so I already have this. I already have this baby because of this baby picture, so I'm not going to save this. But I just wanted to show you that's how I got to that point. Now, another thing that you can do is you can actually edit the palette. And you can reduce the colors. So I had the thought in my mind that what would it's basically kind of a black and white shaded picture to start with. What would it look like if I had it in all blue? Since it's a boy, maybe I could make a blue picture out of it. I have a lot of blue in my house also. So I'm thinking, what if I could change the palette so that it only had all of the blues? And then run the image digitizer over again and see how that comes out. So that's what I'm going to do next. Now, one of the things that happens is when you are editing a palette, and what I'm going to do is hide all these colors, including the ones that are currently used in this picture. And what will happen when you edit the palette and you want to hide colors is the editor will not let you hide anything that is currently being used. So let me show you. If we go into the palette, it has the Hirschner's latch hook yarn selected, and any color that has this little picture-in-picture icon on it, see this one here, that one there, that indicates a color. Indicates a color that's currently used in the grid that you're currently editing, in the project that you're currently editing. All these little colors that have this little icon in the bottom right corner, those are colors that are being used in the picture, and we will not be able to hide those colors when we're editing it while that picture is open. So basically, what I'm saying is that the safest thing to do, and you can edit a palette while you're you know, using it in a picture, but the safest thing to do is to not have that palette used in the picture while you're editing it. So I'm going to just cancel this. I'm going to go to Project, Close, and like I said, I don't need a copy of this, so I'm not going to save it. Okay, so now we're going to go in and pick Palette. We're going to pick our Hirschner's latch hook yarn and pick Edit Palette. Okay, so we want to have just a handful of colors, the blues that are in here. We're going to pick a bunch of blues. But in order to, the fastest way to do that is to hide all of them and then show the few that we want to have shown. So I'm going to click the button Hide All. Okay. And now notice that all these colors have H's on them. If it has an H on it, it means it's hidden and the image digitizer will not use it, and you won't see it in the foreground and background drop downs, when you're editing. So you can limit your palette to just a few colors that you're using this way. And you can do this for other purposes too. If you are particularly working with a large palette and you're only using 10 or 20 colors, it's good to just pick the ones that you need and that you want, that you know that you have, and just work with those. Okay, so now we're going to pick the colors that we want. So definitely we need a white, I think. So I'm going to say show on the white, and see the H is now gone. And then we'll go down here and we'll pick some blues. These are kind of greenish blue, so let's just pick the blues. So light blue, and notice that just left. It's now sorted in such a way that the colors that are used are always shown at the beginning. So light blue is now up here. It looks almost like it deleted it, but it's still in the list. It's just not in the hidden section of it. So very light blue is show. Let's pick the light cornflower, show. The cornflower, show. And the dark cornflower, show. And what else have we got? Navy blue, show. And this one is a royal blue. We'll show that. Okay, and then I don't want I think there's a blue violet. I don't think we'll put that in there. We'll just do all the blues. Okay, so now we've got kind of a gradation of blues, from light to dark, which is kind of what you need to make the picture, a black and white type picture, appear. And actually, without a black and white picture, you can actually do this to other photographs too, and just use the shades of colors. Or you can select all the grays, and you can actually digitize a picture that it's colored and end up with a gray, black and white picture, digitized image of it, just by selecting all the grays in a palette. So let's say Save Palette, Use Palette. Okay, and then it has this thing here. It wants to know, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to open a new project with that palette or convert the current project to that palette? We don't really want to do anything with the palette other than just have it be edited and used. So you can actually click cancel on here, and the project and the palette changes are still there. They are still saved. So let's go to create from image. We still have our image in here that we're working with. And now when I go and I select Hirschner's latch hook rug yarn, I get only those colors that we selected to be shown. So there were 80 colors in this palette, and we hid most of them, so that now we have only the blues. Okay, so now let's say create project. Okay. And we get something that looks like this. Now, that's not too bad. I actually did the same kind of thing with this particular photograph using the Red Heart worsted weight yarn, Super Saver yarn. And I picked all of its blues, and I got I think a little better definition around the head and that kind of thing than this picture, although this is kind of okay the way it is. I did do some further editing on it. I got rid of this dot that's in the middle of the head, and I thought that the shape of the head would look better if I edited the background a little bit. And notice that this color here, let me turn on my show cell color again. This is light cornflower and that's light cornflower. And what really makes the definition between the head and the background is this cornflower color that kind of comes up around the head. So I had an idea to kind of shape the head a little bit more by filling in the background with more of this, this cornflower color. And let me show you what I ended up with. So I shouldn't need to save that because I'm going to open this other one. Oh, no, I don't have it in this. I don't have it in this particular version. I have it. Let me show you real quick in here. This is my development version for the editor. And I'm did a lot of work in here. Let's see, where's baby? I think it's this one. Okay, so what I did was I just edited the background a little bit in this one and added a little bit more of a cornflower in there, just kind of to make it look like the background was a little bit darker. We could actually fill in the background even more if we wanted to, and that would make the head stand out a little bit more. But that curve is basically being delimited by some color in there with this darker color, and it does that a little bit on the original picture. We can switch back over there like that. To some extent, if this wasn't here, it would look like the head just went straight off into the background. So, you know, sometimes you can delimit it just by adding in a little bit more editing. So that's what I did with that picture. So anyway, so that should have shown you several things. One of the things to use is this show and hide cell color here. That will allow you to see what colors are actually on the display in a digitized picture, and in other cases too, if you want to be able to see that. If you're just editing something yourself, drawing something yourself, certainly that's useful too. And then the color substitution, which is up here on the top toolbar, that is extremely useful for modifying pictures that have been digitized. And also notice that I pointed out earlier in the video that you can also use the select option down on the bottom left here to select an area before you click on the substitution, and that will make changes only in that area that is selected. And there was one other. Oh, and then I also showed you in this particular one how you can hide the colors in the palette, and you can modify the colors. If there's a color that you don't like that keeps coming up, try hiding it in the palette and see if the digitizer will pick something else. You can also, you know, if your picture has lots and lots of greens in it, you maybe want to have a lot of greens available for it. But you can also limit it down to you know, you can pick a lighter green, a medium green, a dark green, and hide the other greens so that you simplify your picture. You don't have as many colors in it as the digitizer would want to put in there. You can do that through color substitution afterwards, but you can also basically, you know, affect how the image is processed by reducing the number of colors that are being used in the palette. Okay, so I hope that this has been helpful for everyone. I hope to be putting out a video every week after this on various different portions of the editor. There's lots and lots of things to explain. So if you can, please click the subscribe button, because that would help me a great deal to get subscribers on my channel. That would be very helpful for me. So I'd like you to do that if you can, if you have an account. Thanks. Bye-bye.